So, hello and welcome everyone to the ninth episode of this series of videos where I give some insights into developing my first 8-bit retro game for the ZX81. So the game is now finished and out. So what I want to give insights into at the end is the extent of my game documentation. So how to keep track of things, because if we look into the basic code, then you can see that there is not that easy to make out what's actually happening, especially with all the obfuscation of the single integer numbers 1 and 3 with these different functions around pi. So what I did was to keep track of what happens at which line number on a single A4 piece of paper. And what you can see here is the final version. So there were, I think, 2 other versions before where I had to edit too much. So I discarded them and started anew. So there are a number of different sections, and you also see some white space where I left space, where I wasn't sure whether I would add anything later, but I didn't early on especially. So the program starts at the top with the initialization. Then you have one loop that waits for a keystroke. Then you have a number of utility subroutines starting at 290. So to clear dialog lines, the dialog output with the word wrap, the choices, drawing the main screen, displaying the menu, handling the menu, etc. 998 was one line where I could display the amount of free memory, which I deleted in the end. Then you have the splash screen at 1000. Then you have a second block at the top right, where it's about handling the different menus. So navigation 124, Helm 124, Science Communication 124, and Engineering 124. And then in between those, you have then the handling routines for specific actions that happen within the menu. So the navigation station also shoots the phaser, so that's the phaser animation with the different times in the game when either phasers are being shot from the Sinclair or they're being shot at. Helm doesn't do anything, so that's one area I took out due to simply saying engines are down, so I don't have to handle that. Then the second major things where stuff is happening is around science communication with the different communication activities. And if you've played the game, then you know that the commands and the dialogue is what drives the game forward. And then some further things around engineering 124, so where it's about damage report and about using the transporter as one option to conclude the game. And then in the end, it's the handling of things like game over or the different game over scenarios in the lines at the very end. And this will then help me if I were to go back to navigate and to find what's there. And then probably with this rather nuanced breakdown of what's happening, that I will hopefully be able to infer what the existing code means. So this is then simply where to type the line numbers in the list command. And then, yeah, it's then left as an exercise then to the future me to figure out what I could possibly mean with that code. On the same piece of paper, I did 2 further things to help me make sense of the code. So one is on the left to track the string variables that I use, because the ZX81 basic has a quirk. You can only have 26 string variables, so one for each letter of the alphabet. So, and here I simply wrote down whenever I used one, and I added some later. So the M and Q and X to store strings that I will use frequently, stuff like nevermind or the name of the captain, or what I also use rather frequently is the term Mr. Cuber. So I think I'm going to save a few bytes to put these into a string once, and then always just add the string instead of writing out the text. Then the middle column are numeric variables that I need to keep track of across different routines. So ch to store choice, then 4 variables to keep track of the sort of captain's character and its development over the time of the game. SD is the start date, TO is the timeout, and then NC is the NCC number, because if you played the game, there is one ending where you see two starships of the same type on screen, just with a different NCC number, and so I only need to draw a starship once, because that's very expensive in terms of storage of all the characters that the starships are made of, and so simply using the starship of the same class, use it twice and give it a different registry number, so that's that NC number to keep track of. And the other thing I did on the right is to keep track of the different states of each bridge station. So that's basically how I keep track of how things advance in the game, what kind of path towards victory or towards game over you're at. So nothing happens for set course, for maneuvering, for warp engine, for impulse engine, for orbit, for log, which I had to cut, unfortunately. I wanted to have a sort of captain's log function, but that was totally out of the question given the memory restrictions, and nothing happens for the tractor beam. Then number 17 tracks the three different game over states. And then for the other stations, so phaser, advice, shields, scan, channel, database, damage report, repairs, and a transporter, then the states keep the track of where the player character is at, so that when one station has a certain state, then the other stations know, if that matters, what options or what path they display. And yeah, as you can see, this sort of channel, to open a channel, the main means of communication, they play the main role in advancing the game, and from all the additions and corrections and the lack of sufficient space that I had for my notes, you see the evolution over time, and that's where I had this biggest headache at the end to keep tracks of all paths towards success and all paths towards a game over, that there is never an invalid option, and it always shows the right choices for the communications. But in the end, I think I made it. I'm not aware that there are any paths that don't work in the final version, and that'll also help me make sense of remembering which number means what when I assign the states, and then why certain reactions are in a certain way for other station based on one station state. Okay, so again, I hope this insight into my very lean approach to documentation was interesting. So thanks for watching.